Hello.
Hello, Marisol. Hello, everybody.
How are you, Vassiliki?
I'm great. It's not the perfect day in Greece to talk about solar, but okay, we have a cloudy day. But we are here to motivate the sun to light up again.
Yeah, you're right. We were just discussing backstage that you have your T-shirt on.
Yes, I'm very proud of this T-shirt because I don't know if you know it. It is one of the first T-shirts that Stefan sent me, and I'm very proud to wear it. It's a heat changers T-shirt, and I believe that is the perfect choice. I like to wear it in conferences and in interviews like this, and I'm very proud of it. And congratulations also for your initiation and for your work so far. That I see that every day more people join this initiation, and it's something like all the people from maybe a little bit different areas, not only solar, and from different geographical areas, Europe and Mexico and all over the world, now are unified in a single and powerful initiation.
Community.
Congratulations,
Exactly.
community, exactly.
Thank
yes,
you.
yes.
Thank you very
exactly.
much. Thank you very much. That was actually the goal when we started, to have this common place where everyone from the industry could relate, regardless of the organization they work for or the job they are doing or the country they are. It's like we are the heat changers, and it's a very nice community. When we started, when Stefan was sponsoring the shirts, it was very nice to see many colleagues. I remember having this shirt, and actually in this year I went to this Solar Symposium, which is a gathering of many researchers from Germany or German speaking countries, and several people were wearing their shirts as well, and there was even one colleague who told me, hey, I want another one because this was perfect like for a couple of years, and I wear it so much and so often that I need a new one. So we are trying to get more. We have different things. We have started to have a kind of a line of the heat changers lifestyle. So there are so many activities that we are doing. So I'm very happy that you are here. You are in Greece. In which part of Greece are you right now?
For the last 30 years, I'm in Athens. I come from the upper side of Greece, close to Thessaloniki. But now my family is here. And one major part of my work is here. Because I'm working the Center for Renewable Energy Sources that is located here in Athens. Athens is the capital city of Greece. So yes, now I'm in Athens. I live close to the sea, so I have a privilege, let's say, a house close to the sea. Yeah, and a lot of time I'm traveling, because I'm involved also in other things like Solar KEYMARK, or evaluator of European Commission proposals and technical secretariat and so on. I don't know if you want to tell
we will talk about it. No, thank you. Well, you're in Athens, in the capital of Greece. It's a very nice city. I've been there once and I loved it. I really liked the atmosphere. People were very friendly, very welcoming. Of course, the weather was always perfect.
We are Mediterranean people. So. And you mentioned that you were once in Athens.
Yes.
Now look, we have a plan to schedule the next Solar KEYMARK meeting in Athens in conjunction with an anniversary, because now we have something like 20 or 30 years, 20 years from the first certification, the first approval, let's say, of the scheme rules of Solar KEYMARK certification scheme. So we have an idea to plan for a physical meeting, because the last years, due to COVID and all the situation, we didn't manage to have physical meetings. And you know that it's a great value to meet people in person. So we are thinking to plan the meeting in 1 year, next September in Athens, when the weather still is quite fine. So yeah, you were observer in the last meeting, so we will invite you there.
Oh, nice. I'll be very happy to join. Yes. I think it's a very nice thing to do, meet
Yes.
people again. We are getting used to working online and it has a lot of advantages, but as you know, talking to each other personally, like these vibes, that we as human beings have when we interact in a face-to-face situation is much nicer. And I think that makes us also to have a better connection afterwards online, like being on site has advantages for working off, like remotely or online. So excellent.
Sure.
Thank you. Well, I'm in Berlin.
Pleasure.
I'm in Berlin, in Germany, at this time of the year when it's very cold. I mean, I think people watching can see I'm fully covered because it's very cold. I'm wearing a shirt. I wish I could. It's winter in the same continent. So this is the topic that we as heat changers have right now. Okay, how to heat, how to keep this comfort without causing any damage in the environment. We know there are many solutions, and one of them, the one that is like our passion in this group, is solar heating. And as a Mexican, I really relate a lot to Greece because I think there are many similarities, and I guess that would be the same also for many Latin American countries, not because we are Latin countries, but also in terms of how people heat and how people use water. And I always tell people in these countries that Greece is one of the markets where the solar heating market is most developed. It's like a kind of a common thing to have. How is it for the people in Greece? How do they think? I mean, not people from the solar industry, like usual people. How do they perceive solar water heaters?
Look, the solar thermal storage started from 1974. So mainly with the thermosiphon system. And now it is considered that is something very common for a new house to install a solar thermal system or to replace the existing one with a new one. So it is something that is considered as an everyday, as a usual thing. I mean, it's not something that's innovative or something like this, but this is happened only for solar thermosiphon systems. It is considered that maybe 1 out of 4 houses, they have already an installed solar thermal system. It's not too much. It is less than Cyprus. There are or Barbados. There are other places that they have higher share of thermosiphon systems. But it is something that is known to the majority of people. A lot of people, they know what exactly they want to install in their houses. They're talking about selective surfaces or tempered glass or things like this. But this situation is only for houses, for the domestic sector. And I mean that it is not spread the idea of providing hot water to the hotel sector or to public sector or even to industrial sector. And this is something that we have and we try to work. But still, I could say that we are in the very first stage. And why this happened? For many reasons. At this time, we have a strong industry. We have two out of the 10 companies worldwide that they sell the most, let's say, the biggest areas of solar collectors. 3, if I'm not wrong, 3 companies come from Greece. Kalpak and Solar and I don't remember. So this means that we have a product that can be easily sold worldwide. So a company for sure prefers to sell ready products instead of investing in a pumped or closed system.
Sure.
So there is something good and something bad. So it's very difficult now to convince a company to have a mechanical engineer, to prepare installation, to design installation, to install installation, to commissioning, and to monitoring installation. So this is pros and cons. We are quite strong because we have a product with good quality and price. And now the companies are exporting in, I don't know how many countries, 30 countries, something like this in the whole world. So this is something that will have to invest more effort.
Sure.
To convince both the industrial part to invest more in knowledge, in mechanical engineers, in design, and so on, and of course to convince the government somehow to kick these installations or to provide funding or incentive or something like this. That now I want to believe that this is something that we're expecting to be open the next year, the funding scheme.
That would be great. Actually, if I could just compare it to the market development in countries such as Mexico, which has also a good domestic baseline, let's say. Also, for many people, solar water heaters, thermosiphon systems are like easily to understand, and they also can afford them. And it's not like plug and play, but let's say it's very easy to connect them to the homes and even in buildings. Okay. And now the market is actually developing to the commercial and industrial sector, also because there are local manufacturers who know, of course, the special requirements for the local industry or for this other type of businesses. And also, I believe that what they need to see as suppliers is the business that they can create out of it. It's a new business field, it's a new business model. Of course, they will have to invest in training their people and getting more qualified, or with people with other qualifications to design the systems, to install them, and everything else. But this investment is also something that is going to create more revenue for them. Of course, when the demand, which are like the users, the potential users, or the industry users, when they demand actually this kind of solutions. And that's something that I would be really interested to know. How does it work in Greece for the fossil fuels? Do you have, like, who are you competing with in terms of energy pricing?
Yes. Now I come to something that yesterday in a lecture that I had, I was trying to explain that the slides that I used to use 3 years ago, now they are useless because the situation every day is changing. So 5 years ago, we competed mainly the conventional, the conventional energy sources from natural gas and production, electricity production from the big conventional stations in Greece. And now the situation is day by day is changing, and we are using more energy produced by renewables, mainly photovoltaics and wind parks. But specifically speaking about the solar thermal, it depending on the sector. For example, for the domestic sector, we're competing the typical and very simple electrical fired systems. Usually they have 4 kilowatts or 2 kilowatts electric resistance. The last years also we have a great share of heat pumps. But heat pump efficiency is not so good where we are talking about hot water. They have a quite good efficiency when we're talking about temperatures in the range of 35, 45 degrees Celsius, but they are not so competitive in when we need higher temperatures. But a lot of new houses, because they are more clean, they're more easy to install, now they have already heat pumps. And also a great part in Greece, they use gas, because natural gas that is imported from Greece, it's not imported from other countries. So this means that it's a disadvantage for the energy security of a country, and especially for Greece, also considering the last the situation of the last years with Russia and Ukraine and so on. But 5 years ago, there was a very strong promotional action about the use of natural gas, considering that this is natural, so it's environmentally friendly. And so this is something that we could consider as renewable. So also a lot of new houses installed such systems for using, in order to use natural gas for heating of the house, of course, and for heating needs, and also for providing hot water. But what is the question? The question is, during the winter, it's okay to use natural gas in order to heat your house, and additionally to be provided with hot water. But what happened during the summer? And the summer in Greece is in major part has greater share than the winter part. So we have a need of hot water for 8 or 9 months without the parallel operation of a natural gas machine that provide heat for the house. So now the people, they have day by day realized that the most beneficial, not for the environment, but for their money, for their pocket, is using thermosiphon system. And I have to admit that also the prices of buying thermosiphon systems, they have dropped, and it's very easy and quite how can I say, cost effective to have a thermosiphon system from Greece. So electricity, natural gas, heat pumps are the main competitors, and of course, in the industry, it's heavy oil. This is the situation.
Oh wow! And yes. Is it subsidized, for instance, for industry, this heavy oil, or is also expensive and at risk of supply?
Look, I'm not an expert to know now exactly what is the price. I know that they have different prices. That is different price than that the oil that you're using for cars or for houses. But now in Greece, the price of gas is quite high. I mean, the last 2 years, and is expecting to be even higher. And this is the reason that a lot of industries, they contact us in CRES and saying, look, we want you to give us an idea or a pre-designed study for installing thermosiphon systems for low or medium or even higher temperatures. We have companies, not so many, but companies that they are starting to talk about concentrated solar thermal systems in order to be provided with steam or higher temperatures that are needed from the industrial needs, specific industrial needs.
Okay, I understand. Good. I see Ricardo. Ricardo is there. He wrote in the comments. Hi, Vassiliki. He told me, he wrote me an email and told me to send greetings from his side. He would be very happy.
And when I follow the discussion with Ricardo, that of course I know Ricardo, I don't know, 25, 30 years ago. Now you mentioned that it was the first conversation in Italian, and then it will be in another language, and say, okay, what a great opportunity to have a conversation in Greek language.
I mean, we set the stage. If you want to interview someone in Greek, feel free to tell me. I don't speak Greek.
Yes, you do. There are so many Greek words that you're using. Okay, let's have a dialogue between two enthusiastic professionals for heliothermia. I used 3 Greek chords.
Lothiermia, you see?
Yes. So.
You're right. We could manage. Yes. Well, actually, we have we started doing these spotlights in Spanish when I was in Mexico during the pandemic.
Yes.
Because, like, we all try to do some things online and to keep interacting. And I was doing these interviews with the people I know. Well, some of the people that I know from Mexico and other countries in Latin America. And then I say, well, now let's try in English. Let's try to get more people. So now I started with Ricardo. I could speak some Italian, but not like to have a really fluent conversation. So
everybody speaks some Italian, and I was. Me too. Also, I speak some Italian, and when I with Italian people, everybody say that it's so annoying that everybody speaks Italian.
A little bit, of course. Well, we need to say it's kind of easy.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Tell me a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
What did you study? What were your motivations to study that? What are you doing? What are the highlights of your career?
Okay. So now we're talking about 3 decades or 4 decades ago.
For me, it's important for people to know where we come from. Because what if there is someone now like looking for or trying to make a decision on what to study, or they are about to graduate and that they are not sure which industry to join? And I guess, given our experience, just why are we so fond of this industry could motivate them to join us, because we need more talented people.
Yes, let me recall some old memories. Look, the field is mechanical engineering. I believe that the most people that come from this field, or for physicists maybe, or so I studied in mechanical engineering. That, as you know, and everybody knows, that is a totally men's world. It was a man world. Everybody was dealing with heavy mechanical engineering things. And now it was a coincidence for me that I ran some months, like a practical exercise in Demokritos. That Demokritos has a test laboratory for testing solar thermal collectors. And then again, it was a coincidence that I was involved in the design of a solar collector. Then we're talking about 1994. So I was really triggered about this, and I was thinking that it would be very interesting to design a hybrid collector, including also providing hot water and air. So one after the other, I tried to contact companies in order to find information, and then to construct my idea. So starting from this stage, I come in contact with, as I mentioned, a lot of companies, and one of them was a Solar company. In Solar company, the owner is Panos Lamaris. That, of course, if somebody works in solar thermal things, knows him, because he's one of the founders of European Solar Thermal Industry Federation, and also the founders of Solar KEYMARK, and so on. So specifically at this time, it was funded a very prestigious project with solar cooling. Think about that. Solar thermal was quite innovative, and now we're talking about the solar cooling. And this project was and still is Sarandis project, Photonio project, that it was and still is still running with a 700 kilowatt of solar cooling machine, absorption solar cooling machine, and 2,664 square meters of collectors. So think about so many years ago. Yeah, I know.
And you know by heart. You know the numbers by heart. Excellent. I love it.
I checked one by one this collector. So to cut a long story short, this was my first job my first big project. So it was really an investment for my career because I gained very precious knowledge about solar thermal. I was in parallel in the testing laboratory of Democritus and in industrial environment. So I was in the center, let's say, of the whole situation. I was I was in the production line, and then in installation, and then in commissioning, and the whole process. So I gained a lot of experience. And of course, during my job in Sole, I was responsible, let's say, after this experience, for big installations in Tunisia, in Jordan, in other countries, and also in Greece for large scale pump systems. So from one day to another, I was lucky because I was the right person to the right moment, let's say. So I gained very significant knowledge that it was rare, let's say, for this time, specifically for this time in Greece. And with this knowledge, opened the door for the Center for Renewable Energy Sources, that had the department of solar thermal, and for me it was the next step to leave industrial environment that was quite tough, with a lot of hours of working, with a lot of stress. So one day I felt so much pressed by all this situation, and I decided to go somewhere else, a little bit with less stress. And I joined the Center for Renewable Energy Sources, Solar Thermal Department. That was quite interesting. A lot of projects in other countries, meet people from other research centers. So it was really, and still is, very interesting, because you are working with the whole Europe, not only with in Greece. And it has a lot of traveling, visiting other centers, and so on. Let's say these were my two main points of career. And in parallel, I was dealing with the standardization. And also this was a coincidence, because the first elaboration of standards was based on a project funded by European Commission. So nobody else could handle this, neither me, but I was trying to find out what happened with standards and so on. That is a totally, a totally separate area, dealing with standards and with standardization and certification and so on. So I was also involved in this area, and partially in Solar KEYMARK. Solar KEYMARK is the second, let's say, big step in my career, when I was invited by Andreas Boring to take over this position. For me, it was quite big for me. For certification, with much more responsibilities, that requires much more capacities and different disciplines and knowledge, and a lot of things, because we're talking about certification bodies, testing laboratories, companies. Sometimes they have a contradictory approach. Yes, and this is it. And in parallel, I give also some lectures in the university. I have always with me a small solar thermal collector.
You see, of course, I must have for all of you guys. This is excellent.
Yeah.
You have the whole package. I mean, you started in the corporate world, let's say in the private sector. Then you move to, what is it, like more research, the CRES?
Yes.
And now you have like a hybrid, I would say, with the Solar KEYMARK, because it's a little bit of everything. Like you have
exactly.
You have also researchers, but you also have the certification bodies, of course, the core of it. And you're lecturing. I guess you're lecturing on solar thermal, like.
Yes, solar thermal and renewables and optimization of. With a tendency to solar.
A light tendency. Oh, perfect.
Sometimes, not sometimes, every year I give also some lecture for high temperature solar thermal systems, concentrate and so on. That obviously there is no book to give. And said, okay, this is it. You have to to study a lot. I know that there is no book for in Greek.
You want to write a book. next project.
Yes. Next project. When we'll find time.
I think that's something that I really appreciate for all the people working, well, for most of the people that I know working in this industry, that are really passionate about it, and they try to do as many things as possible, because it's like, oh, there is so much room for innovation, there is so much room for trying, no, just as you said when you started with Solar KEYMARK, okay, I'll try, no, just like daring to do new things and doing them very professionally, and really, I think many people are so committed and therefore are doing so multiple things at the time. And that's something we need to really highlight and also recognize. I think this is very important. This is also the message that we want to give to the world, that in order to just to make people more fond of us, no, let's say solar heating is not just the solar water heater on the roof of a building or a home. It is a lot of people working behind in several countries, and especially women. I mean, I know it's very hard to find women in this let's say technical, I don't know how to explain it, because it's an industry which has a strong technical component, let's say, but needs also a lot of other disciplines. You know, I'm not a technician. I studied business administration and do marketing, and I wish many more people like from my background would join this industry. And I guess finding also this good match between technical aspects and marketing aspects, it's also very interesting, because we need more fusion on that part, right? What is your take on that? On like how can we get more people interested in this industry who are not only technicians?
I don't know. Yesterday I was reading an interview from a professor from engineering university in Greece, Professor Foodie. That is a woman, and she was stressed that still she is a woman, of course, and she started her career 40 years ago. And she indeed mentioned that very few, not very few, but less women joined mechanical engineering studies than men, and even less managed to finish their studies, and even less to work. Of course, this area is dominated by men, and this is true. And especially the renewables are dominated by men. Sometimes it's very hard to convince or to convince people that it's worth to deal or to seriously deal with renewables, because for such a long period of time, renewables were considered something like hobby, not a real job,
business.
not real work,
yeah,
not real business. Exactly. And even now, the renewables are considered as a course or a single course in a full mechanical engineering 5 years studies.
I see. Okay.
So this is the situation. Of course, are running a lot of projects, European projects, like Marie Curie or other projects that they try to attract or to give the first knowledge to young people or students to deal with renewables. But I don't know. I think one thing brings the other. Maybe considering that the share of renewables now in Greece is getting bigger and bigger every day. I want to believe that more people will invest in this in terms of companies or designing or commissioning or things like this. If we're talking about a woman in a man's world, yes, sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's a joke, or I don't know.
Challenge.
A challenge. I remember when I participated in the Solar Paces executive committee, a lot of prestigious and very famous and very capable, of course, men participated there. In the introduction, when we introduce ourselves and when my turn comes, I said, okay, I'm here just to balance the gender issue. So,
Sure.
yeah, this is
I
this
see.
is the situation.
You were mentioning before that the market in Greece, for instance, is let's say a traditional domestic market, like for the residential sector, and that there is this potential in the commercial and industrial sector. That means companies from the solar heating sector would need other types of skills. And then because you need like a more engineering profile or someone, right, to design the systems, because many people may think it's just about installing the thermosiphons, and it's actually not. That's one part. You have to think of all the opportunities that this industry has, from product design to system design, installation, and then of course the whole monitoring part, besides all these other supporting activities such as management, accountancy, finances, marketing, and so on. So I think if we focus, or if we try to focus or show the solar thermal sector industry as an industry with all these different components, we can make it more attractive for people, right? Because they will see a place wherever, in different parts, actually, not in one simple part of the whole process. And that's the thing that I want to also show with these interviews, right? Because you're the perfect example. You started in the corporate world, no, installing and doing all these things as well, and moving to different parts of the chain is amazing. Congratulations for that, and it's really nice to see someone with your profile working so actively and also internationally, which is the next part I would like to talk to with you about. You mentioned the Solar KEYMARK. Perhaps for people who are not very acquainted with that term, could you briefly explain what it is and what's your job?
Yes, let's make some promotion, some strategy.
Yes.
Andreas Borel will be very happy about this. So let's start from standardization. Standardization is a process where we have a common document in order to test systems. So with standardization, we receive an identity of a system that give us the main parameters about the efficiency and about the behavior and about some other things regarding the durability of this product. So we have the standards, and one level up, we have the certification. Certification now is specifically Solar KEYMARK. Solar KEYMARK is a certification scheme that is owned by CEN, that is a main standardization body of Europe. And certification give us the opportunity to have a homogeneous approach of common procedures about systems using the same standards. So this is a label. It's not mandatory. It's obligatory. It's something that it's not obligatory for someone to have a certification scheme. But in simple words, when somebody has a label, a Solar KEYMARK label, then has the opportunity to sell this product across Europe without the need to retest the collector in another country. So this is a label that have a European approach and opens the market. And of course, it is a fair process that you have the same standards for the same product in different countries, and this is the benefit. This happens not only for solar products, but also the KEYMARK is applicable for heat pumps and insulation materials. This is an advantage. This is a tool for the companies in order to be able to sell with only one process, to sell the products in different countries. For example, if somebody has a certification label, that means that has already tested the collector in Greece, in the Greek testing laboratory Demokritos, then without needing another process or anything else, can sell the product in Portugal, in Italy, with a recognized process, meaning that it is not necessary to retest the collector. It is open the market in Europe.
Is it also possible, for instance, a company, let's say from Mexico, to get a Solar KEYMARK to sell their products in any European country? Would that also be possible?
Currently, testing laboratories and certification bodies have to be located in Europe. This is something that we work on. We try to convince them to open this process. I mean, to give the opportunity to testing laboratories outside of Europe to be part of the validated, let's say, testing laboratories of Solar KEYMARK. Because I didn't mention that in Solar KEYMARK, they belong some approved certification bodies and approved testing laboratories. In the specific case, if somebody is in Australia or in America, we have some, let's say, common agreements with other bodies like SRCC, that they recognize the Solar KEYMARK. Okay. So somebody, if a company has a Solar KEYMARK, then with this testing, with this document, and currently I think there's a very big promotional activity that without any other fee can get the label or the scheme of SRCC. Mm-hmm. If there is a company outside of Europe that is willing to sell in Europe and is willing to collaborate with a testing laboratory of a certification body in Europe, yes, this is true.
So they will have to get their products tested in one of the authorized bodies, and then it's also labeled, not exclusive, let's say, for European manufacturers.
Exactly. And also there is, as you know better than me, there's a collaboration with a global solar certification network that also provides the opportunity, if somebody has a certified collectors with Solar KEYMARK, then can, with some specific procedures and less fee, to get the global solar certification network, let's say, approval, or to open the doors in order to sell outside.
Open the doors globally, of course.
Yes, open the doors globally.
That's very interesting. And what is exactly what you do in the Solar KEYMARK network? We understand, I guess, now what the Solar KEYMARK is, and you have a very special work in that.
Yes, in Solar KEYMARK, let's say in the higher level, there are three pylons. Again, a Greek word. Three pylons. One is the secretariat, that this belongs to SolarHeat Europe, that is dealing with invoices and organization of meetings and so on. And the second pylon is the position of manager, that I hold this position, and the chairmanship. So SolarHeat Europe has a secretariat that is dealing with everyday, let's say, administrational things and site updating and so on. The chairman is the chairman,
the boss.
is the one that chaired the meetings, and of course, this is Andreas Borner, has knowledge about the standards and about the specific scheme rules that deal with certification. And manager is something between these two. So
Okay.
manager is the person that has the responsibility to organize the meetings in order to have the correct decisions, in order to have the correct resolutions that formulate the way that Solar KEYMARK rules work. Also, manager is the person that is dealing with specific complaint cases. That is the most demanding, if I could say. For example, now before joining the meeting, I managed to send the minutes of the last
I
meeting
saw.
of Solar KEYMARK. Yes, you received it.
I got them.
But the most important is that you have to be somewhere in the middle. You have to find the correct way so the company, the testing laboratory, and the certification body collaborate in a fair way. Because a certificate with a very high values have more possibilities to sell comparing to another that maybe has less. How can I say? It's not so optimistic in terms of the values, and this is something that sometimes is not so fair. I mean, there are some cases that requires to deal with the testing laboratory to check the procedures, to check if something went wrong on purpose or not on purpose, and this is the most, let's say, demanding part of the work. And of course, any other issues like collaboration with the chairman for strategy issues or issues that is dealing with the communication with the KEYMARK in SEN. Or pointed out specific cases that needs attention in terms of communication or market surveys, and things like this.
So your job at the KEYMARK is very international because SolarHeat Europe is in Brussels, so it's the
yes
association of all the solar thermal industry members. Then you are located in Greece, and as a part of the CRES, I guess, is your manager role, or
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, based in Greece, but you have to travel whenever there are meetings or things to do. And the members of the KEYMARK network are from all over Europe. So
exactly.
Quite international.
They are all over Europe. Yes, all over Europe. Especially for Solar KEYMARK. We planned, because the meetings of Solar KEYMARK are already scheduled for the next 10 years, specific dates. Yes, this is true.
That's planning.
But, one per year had planned as physical meeting. But now, and this was the rule. This was something that didn't change. And this was an opportunity to meet people, because as you mentioned, when we're talking about industrial people and so on, it's very critical to see and to solve any raised issue regarding the certificate or things like this. Now, this is not the case. The majority of meetings now are held as web meetings, and as I mentioned, we'll try to convince the Solar Certification Fund to provide some funding in order to organize the next meeting in Athens. We will see. Sometimes it was a joke. I mean, especially for the standardization, I remember that for 10 years I communicated with a person, and when we met in Canary Islands, and they said, "I'm Vassiliki," and said, "Okay, where is your mustache?" I said, "No mustache, I'm somehow maybe he had searched my name in internet and he found some Vassiliki that was a man. So yes, sometimes you haven't, and also for me, a lot of times I communicate with people and I'm not sure whether it's a man or a woman. And Andrea said, "Oh, Vassiliki is not a man, it's a woman."
We don't know all the time. Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing all these details. I think for many people, actually also outside Europe is going to be very interesting to know how it works actually, everything related to the Solar KEYMARK. And just trying to wrap up or to close our conversation, I could talk hours with you, I guess. It's been already 50 minutes.
It wasn't difficult, huh?
Yeah, I know, it's not difficult. I mean, you all have so many things to say and so many interesting things to say.
Yes.
Like talking about like coming to the emotional visionary part of the interview, which is a very nice closure all the time. What do you wish? Now we are closing the year almost, and everyone tries to make wishes for next year, or we all wish to have something different. What will be your main wish, or maybe two, for you and for the industry? Like, say, if I can make a wish,
what a difficult question. I don't know.
Before time, and besides time for writing your book.
Oh my God. I think the first priority now are my children, because I have two children, 14 and 12 years old. Wow. So they absorb, let's say, all my energy and time. So maybe after 10 years, we will think about it. But I think that I believe that they are more the people with more knowledge and in academic sector to write a book. Maybe I propose to Panos Lamaris to write a book with do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts.
Nice.
Because the knowledge is based on do's and don'ts, and as Panos Lamaris mentioned, don't be afraid to make mistakes. So
yeah,
yes, this would be good, at least for the time that he's still active. So I don't generally I don't make lists, or I feel very anxious when I have to put specific goals. And I think the most things in my life came without a specific purpose or plan. I just made what I love to, and somehow the people, the correct people and the correct coincidences appear in front of me. Of course, we have some specific goals for Greece, especially with the sectors that I just mentioned, industrial and hotel sectors. And this is one of our main goals now, let's say, in a national level. My second goal is to manage to coordinate two new projects that we have in CRES. One is we didn't find time to talk about my work in CRES, about the project next time.
You just mentioned briefly, but you mentioned.
Yes.
We can explain now as well.
Because we have two big projects now. One, in order to create a solar hub between Greece and Turkey, a big solar hub dealing with business plan for solar collectors and innovative designing and so on for a lot of sectors. That is quite prestigious project. And the other one is that is one that I coordinated, about the implementation of renewable energies for heating in the whole Europe. That also is very demanding. So it is very interesting, but still very, very demanding. I hope that I will manage to do so. I have a very good collaborator in CRES that is also a woman, Rosie Christodoulaki, that is is quite capable, and I trust her very much. So I think we can manage to do it. So there are a lot of areas that we could also invest. I could speak for hours. We have a solar cooling installation in Jordanian that now is in commissioning phase as a pilot project in another European funded projects of CRES. So we want also to expand this technology in these areas, in Jordan areas, in MENA areas where we have a lot of sun. And we do believe that we can do it. I mean, we do believe that we have to invest in order to operate in a high efficiency this cooling, solar cooling. And also we're talking about Barbados and some other activities, but okay, let's stick to
Please stay close to your country.
Yes. And of course, for Solar KEYMARK, our next goal is to try to expand, to to go outside of Europe. This is one of our main goals, trying to expand in other countries, because there are certification schemes that they copy Solar KEYMARK, and we have two certification schemes with the same content and different labels. So we try to harmonize all these other, like SAMSI, for example.
Yeah.
A lot of things, too much things, too less time.
Yeah, but I mean, it was awesome to hear your answer. You do what you really want, what you feel passionate about, and then opportunities just come and you take them. I think that's
yes,
the
this
important
is
thing.
true. This is true. Personally, I didn't have any specific plan, or I didn't thought that, okay, what about solar? But it's a good place to work on, because I think nobody knows 20 or 30 years ago that this area would be in this level now. Yeah, this is it.
Nice.
As you, I suppose, as you do. You're just
Yes.
doing what you love, and
Yeah.
the good thing is that you meet people that sometimes are more enthusiastic than you are, and you feel more powerful in order to work together, like Stefan, like Andreas, like Pedro, a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's why I was saying in the beginning, it's a strong community, and perhaps something that was missing for a long time, right? Because of course we have associations, we have different organizations where the industry meets and where people from the industry meet. However, it's always related to a membership or to a company, but like on an individual basis where we can share what we do and have a common place. It's important. On the other side, we also want to share content to the general audience in a more, let's say, easy way, not so technical, and just explaining benefits and giving more information to raise more or to increase the visibility of the technologies, of the suppliers, and everything, because we also want to that there are more people using solar heating technologies and cooling, which is also great. And I didn't know that you were involved in cooling technologies.
Really? You didn't know about me, not generally as cooling.
No,
Okay.
about you. Like I didn't know. So long time ago, you were already dealing with that. It's exciting.
Yes. This is true.
Perfect. We also have a podcast, and we started in Spanish. Now we're doing the series in English. So for sure, I will invite you to join us in one episode and tell us more about that part. Is something very
in Spanish.
In English.
Or...
No, we have them in English. No, we have them now in two languages. We do one in Spanish, one in English.
Sure.
So next year there are many more surprises from the heatchangers.
Whatever you want, of course.
Great, Vassiliki. It was awesome talking to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Marisol. It was great. Thank you very much, and thank the people that listen to us. Thank you very much.
For sure. We will spread the word. You will see in the next 3 weeks, we will share some bits of this interview and, of course, the link to the recordings, which are going to be available everywhere. And hope to see you soon in person or in the next meetings online.
We'll manage to do so. We have to do so.
For sure.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day
to all. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.